So far everything is working well. The only thing we need is to be able to see if an order was paid for or not. So currently we only have one record of an order in our website, but let's add one more so that we can have at least two, because that way at least we can know it actually works well when we try to see which one was paid or not. So I'm on the online version here, and what I want to do is create one more record, and then we can copy those records and bring them back to our localhost. That way we don't have to, once we bring them back to our localhost, we don't have to keep going back to the online version to see if things actually work. So to begin with, let me add an order here. So I'm just going to add any of these. So let's add to cart. Let me increase the number of items here. Okay, there we go. Then I can now go to the checkout. Actually, before I go to the checkout, let me add one more item here, just so we can have multiple items instead of just one. So there we go, a second item, and let me add two of these. Okay, so there's our subtotal, and let's go to the checkout. So here I'm going to add some basic details just to keep things going. Let's do that. See here, home. I have no idea what I can put here. Let's add a number here, and we don't really need to add some notes, but yeah, why not? So click continue here, and our summary is here. Looks good, and let's say pay. Alrighty, so select a payment below. Okay, let's click on that payment. Come on, come on, come on. Chop, chop. Doesn't seem to be in a big hurry to finish. All right, so there we go. Let's try that. Okay, so once we are done with this whole process of setting this up, the only thing we need to change on the PayPal end is to change from sandbox to live, and that's it. It means we are now actually accepting real payments. That's the only process to do there. So all we have to do now is confirm that everything works, and then we can switch to the live version. Okay, still loading, it seems. All right, there we go. Finally, we get something. Still loading, and let's see if the amount is correct. That's good, and pay now. Alrighty then. So, thanks for shopping with us. Your order was successful. Yeah. But let's do a cancel and see what happens. So I'm just going to create one, try to buy something, and then cancel that order as well. So we can cancel that, and then I'll add two items here. Go to the checkout, and I will add everything that I need to add to this checkout. This is something I didn't test, the cancel version of this. So we're just going to have one that's good and the other one that is cancelled, just so we can see the difference. And let's go next. Okay, there we go. And then if somebody goes pay at this point, And then once they get here, they try to pay, but then they decide to close the window. Payment was cancelled. Okay, so at least we have those orders there. So if I go to my database to check, this is the online database. So obviously, to go there, you have to be on the dashboard and click PHP My Admin, and then it will come here where you click Manage, and it will open the PHP My Admin. So this is the payments directory. So if I check, I should have a few records here, and it seems I do. So these, the only payments that show up here are the successful ones. And on the other side, if things were not successful, I will have to go into orders to check if there was an order made. But once it's here, then it means we are good to go. So back to, I've opened a different thing here. And now at this point, I can see the only problem that I missed here is that I wasn't logged in while doing this. So you see here, my user URL isn't writing to the database here. So temporarily, what I will do is I'm just going to copy this. So we have to enforce this rule of login before somebody can buy something. That way we know who exactly purchased something. So at this point, I'm just going to copy the user URL here onto these other parts, but we're going to put a restriction that will stop people from being able to buy if they are not logged in. Okay, should have used the query. That would be faster because I can update all of them at once, but this is okay. Okay, so this ensures that all these orders belong to one user here, but we'll do likewise and stop the adding of orders if somebody is not logged in. So once we have this, we have the orders that we want. I want to export this information so that we can deal with the localhost while we finish up, because the internet is quite slow. So I'll go to the export here to export the orders table. Export, here we go. So we are exporting everything, the data, and so we just click go here, and the page is asking you to leave, is it? I have no idea what that means, but let's accept. Okay, there we go. Save orders. Let's go to payments and save that one as well. So export, so 2 payments here, export. Come on. Alrighty then, so click go as well, leave, yes. Connection to the server was lost. I don't know, I think it's because I had clicked twice. So payments is exported. Let's go to order details as well, and we can export that as well. Actually, we don't need order details for this specific exercise, but let's see here. The only problem is the order ID, and this is why most of the time when I'm adding IDs to the table, I usually leave the ID alone and create another ID, just like we did with users. Instead of using the normal ID, we have a user URL there that we are using. But in this case, the problem is we're using the same order ID, which is the ID of the order details here, the order table, sorry. So the problem with that is, for example, I have orders on my localhost, right? Now I want to get these records and put them on my localhost. The problem is the IDs here will have to change because I already have some records on my localhost. Maybe I have records 1 to 10, and I want to add these, and these also have 1 to 16. So it cannot replace the 1 to 10, and if I change those to maybe 10, 11, 12, 13, then these become different orders altogether because the ID is now different, which means they will not match these guys here. So this is why on most occasions when I'm creating these tables, I'll add a second ID, which I'm going to use to identify a specific row, and just leave this ID for the database to use in finding records. But we already did this, so I'm just going to get that. The payments and the orders, those two are enough. So payments 1 and orders.sql, those are the ones. So now I will have to come to my localhost version, PHP my admin, and then I will go to eShopDB. And then I'm going to go to, let's start with the payments, because payments will be easier. We don't have records in here, do we? Here we do. We have one created, but let's remove this one and add, yeah, let's add the one that we got. So I'm just going to go to operations here. Let's see though, is this a same order though? 6 amount is 6 kwacha, so let's see, $6. Payments 6. No, these are different. So neither of these is easy. So let's go back to localhost here. I want to just add to this record instead of deleting what's here. Now if I go to import here, it's going to try and remove everything that's here, or it's going to tell me that the ID does not match. But let's just give it a shot and see what happens. So we're going to go to import, browse for that. So it's inside my downloads. So it's payments 1, that's the one there, and open. And let's hit go and see if we get any errors. And just as I thought, table payments already exists. Okay.